Today, the roof is getting fixed. There was a rather significant leak in the bathroom, and so we told the landlady, and she's paying for it to be replaced, which is really cool. As a result, or as part of that, there's some interesting things that happened. And if this is your first time here, my name's Jonathan, my wife is Hannah, and we started this channel to help inspire people about missions and help give a inside view of what it's like over here. We're in Thailand, we travel around, it's kind of cool. If you want to join us, hit subscribe. Oh, this is fun. Hi. Now I have to get you. So in the bathroom, I was expecting they would just like patch the hole, but no, they took out like part of the ceiling and replaced it, and yeah, anyway. This is what really was slightly surprising and very not what you would see in America. That right there was part of the ceiling in the bathroom, and they just threw it out here. That's technically not even on the property this house is on. And there's another one hiding over there. There's another piece of the ceiling board out there. There's some roof tiles that they just kind of threw out over the fence. They were walking all in my garden bed, which it's not planted. If it was planted really neat and nice, they probably wouldn't have. But it's just like so different, the way they do stuff. I mean, I've had people say, oh, you just throw your trash, outside the fence. And so you don't have to pay for the trash bill. And that's so wrong. I mean, we spent months cleaning up behind the house so that we could grow stuff. It's like so different. If it's trash, just, throw it out the back. I'm not going to do that, but I'm also not going to be mad at them for doing it. Because what will that accomplish? Nothing.
Culture shock can be a funny thing. Because some people think of culture shock, and I did too when I first came to Thailand. I thought culture shock was where you come to a new country and you're like horrified that it's so dirty, or you're like shocked at the food, or you actually feel shocked. I didn't realize that culture shock has not so much to do with actually feeling shocked sometimes. Sometimes we do feel shocked, other times we don't. But today was an example of some culture shock, even after 8 years of living here. Our culture and the local culture clashed pretty strongly. And it's, those are the kind of situations where it's actually very easy to react in a very negative way. And a lot of people find themselves, a new culture, and it's easy to feel really depressed and down and frustrated and just ready to be done with it because everything's so different. People just think so differently. Kind of like a man versus a woman, we don't understand each other sometimes, but you think, oh, these people, they should think the way we do, but they don't. So it can be really, really challenging. In short, culture shock can lead to some very negative feelings, and those negative feelings, if allowed to bubble up and, spill over, can actually really damage our relationship with the very people we're trying to reach. That it can just be like, how do they think this way? Why? It doesn't make any sense. And because of that, it puts up a wall between us because we think they're so weird, and then we get upset with them, and then they might think we're so weird too, plus we got upset with them. So culture shock is a really important thing to learn to recognize, but also, how do we deal with it? my gut reaction is like, how could you just walk all over my plants and just throw garbage in the yard that we just are gonna have to spend hours cleaning up? Or maybe not hours, but it's gonna take some work. Even though my natural reaction was to be really frustrated, it was like somehow, and I know it was God because he just gave me peace. It was like, it's okay. The mint plant, yeah, it'll probably grow back. It'll probably be okay. The ginger well might come up again. Who knows? It might not. But in the end, getting upset wouldn't have changed the fact that they have killed some of my plants. It wouldn't have changed how they do things now. They probably are going to still do the same thing regardless of what I say. And so it's like, you know what? I am just so thankful that God gave me that peace, that it's okay. It's okay that my plants are half dead. It's okay that there's garbage thrown all over the place. Give us some time, some work, we'll get it cleaned up. But in the end, what matters is that we didn't fry relationships. We didn't get upset and tell people off, or even just lose our own connection with God over it.
I'm pretty sure it was Ben Franklin that said, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape." In missionary life, if you're flexible, it makes a big difference, because if, especially with cultures, it's really different. And if you're gonna, have a really, or make a big deal out of the fact that you don't like what they're doing, that's not gonna help anything for anybody.
I was thinking, these people, I'm sure they didn't have bad intentions. It's not like they came thinking, let's just walk all over her plants. We don't like her plants. No, I'm sure they weren't thinking that. But I was thinking, it's kind of funny how when people are careless, or it seems like they just don't care about our stuff, it's really upsetting. But then what I was thinking was, it's like, if somebody came to my house that actually really hated me, and they walked all over my plants, they killed my plants, they threw trash everywhere, how would I respond? And I was like, well, if somebody really hated me, I would want to show them God's love, right? And so it just struck me, it's like, these people don't hate me. And they really didn't mean any harm. So why should I be any less loving to them when they didn't mean it as any harm? What if somebody does something and it just really gets under your skin? How do you deal with that? I'm quite sure the only way is to ask God to put his love in our hearts for the people around us. Because if you think about it, God's culture, how often do we do things that really offend God? And yet he still loves us. He bears with us so patiently. And even today, it shocked me how okay it was to me. It really wasn't the end of the world. I believe God wants to do that for each one of us, that no matter what people do to us, whether they had ill intentions, or they were just not being careful, or it was an accident, that we can have love for them. And you know what? Life is so much happier that way, because when God puts his love in our hearts, he can put his joy in our hearts, his love in our hearts, and it is so much better.
Thanks so much for joining us on this little chapter in our journey. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. God bless. We'll see you next week.